The shouting started before she even reached her desk. Not angry shouting, panicked shouting. The kind that make your stomach drop before you know what is wrong. The newsroom lights flickered, printers jammed mid-page, and half the monitors went black. People were running, grabbing hard drives, stuffing documents into bags. And in the middle of the chaos stood Amara Okoye, clutching a small silver flash drive like it was a live grenade. "Where did you get that?" her editor barked, sweat beading on his forehead. Amara swallowed hard. "It was in my mailbox. No name, no note." Her editor's face drained of color. "Did you open it?" She nodded. The room seemed to tilt. Because inside that flash drive was footage, time-stamped, clear, undeniable, showing the sitting governor of Rivers State ordering ballot boxes burned behind a warehouse on election night. His voice was unmistakable. His face was visible. His orders were explicit. And the election was still being contested. Her editor grabbed her arm. "Amara, listen to me. This is bigger than you, bigger than us. Put it away." But before she could respond, the glass doors of the newsroom slammed open. Men in black suits marched in. No badges, no introductions, just authority dripping from their silence. They unplugged servers, seized computers, ordered everyone to step away from their desks. "What's happening?" someone cried. One of the men pointed at Amara. "You, come with us." Her editor stepped between them. "She's a journalist. You can't..." The man shoved him aside. Amara's heart pounded. She backed away slowly, clutching the flash drive so tightly her nails dug into her palm. Then, the power went out. The entire newsroom plunged into darkness. People screamed, papers flew, chairs toppled. Amara didn't wait. She ran down the hallway, through the emergency exit, into the alley behind the building. Her breath was ragged, her hands shook, her mind raced. She had evidence that could topple a powerful governor, and now she was a fugitive. But nobody chasing her knew what was really happening. And before this night ended, everything would change forever. Amara had never been fearless. People assumed she was, because she was a journalist, because she chased stories, because she confronted politicians on live TV. But fear had lived inside her since childhood. She grew up in a one-room apartment with a father who believed truth was worth dying for. He was a local reporter, stubborn, principled, always broke, always in trouble. Amara remembered him coming home with bruises, torn shirts, swollen lips. "They tried to silence me," he'd say, wincing as he sat. "But truth doesn't fear darkness." Her mother hated it. "Leave this work," she'd beg. "We need you alive." But he never listened. And one rainy night, he didn't come home at all. The police said it was a robbery. The neighbors said it was a warning. Her mother said nothing, just sat by the window for hours, staring at the street where they found his body. Amara was 12. She learned two things that year. Truth was dangerous, and silence was deadly. She promised herself she would never be silent. But she also promised she would never be reckless. So she worked quietly, carefully, methodically. She built a reputation for accuracy, not drama. She avoided political stories unless she had airtight evidence. She never wanted to end up like her father. But life has a way of dragging you back into the battles you thought you escaped. Nobody knew the sacrifices she made. Nobody knew she lived in a tiny studio apartment because she sent half of her salary to her mother. Nobody knew she stayed up until 3 a.m. verifying sources, cross-checking documents, triple-checking facts. Nobody knew she had turned down promotions because she didn't want to be the kind of journalist who traded truth for comfort. Nobody knew she still kept her father's press card in her wallet, worn, faded, stained with rain. Nobody knew she had been investigating the governor quietly for months, gathering whispers, rumors, fragments. Nobody knew she had already suspected election fraud. Nobody knew she had prayed for proof. And now she had it. But proof came with a price. The betrayal came from someone she trusted. Her colleague, Tomiwa,
had been her closest friend in the newsroom. They shared lunch, shared leads, shared frustrations. He was the one who encouraged her to pursue the election story. He was the one who said, if anyone can expose him, it's you. But Tomiwa had a secret. His brother worked for the governor. And when Tomiwa realized Amara had real evidence that could destroy the governor's career, his brother's job, his family's stability, fear twisted into desperation. He made a call. A single call.
And within hours, the governor's men were at the newsroom door. Amara didn't know this yet, but she would. And when she did, it would break her. The crisis reached its peak at midnight. Amara hid in an abandoned printing warehouse, her breath fogging in the cold air. She crouched behind stacks of old newspapers, clutching the flash drive like a lifeline. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. We know where you are. Her blood ran cold. She turned off the phone, heart hammering. Footsteps echoed outside the warehouse. Slow, deliberate, close. She pressed herself against the wall, trying not to breathe. The door creaked open. A flashlight beam swept across the room. Check everything, a voice said. She's here. Her pulse throbbed in her ears. She was trapped. No exit, no allies, no time. She closed her eyes. And then, a loud crash outside. The men rushed toward the noise. Amara didn't wait. She bolted through the back door, sprinting into the night, lungs burning, legs shaking. She didn't know who caused the distraction. She didn't know how long she had. She just ran. The truth came from the last person she expected. Prince Will, her editor, found her hiding behind a bus station 2 hours later. His shirt was torn, his face bruised, but his eyes were fierce. Amara, he whispered, listen to me. Tomiwa betrayed you. He felt the world tilt. No, she whispered. He wouldn't. He did. He panicked. He thought he was protecting his family. Her chest tightened. Her throat burned. She felt tears sting her eyes. Prince Will placed a hand on her shoulder. But you are protecting the entire state. She handed him the flash drive with trembling fingers. Publish it, she whispered. Even if they kill me. Prince Will shook his head. No, you will publish it, and you will live to see what truth can do. He stood, pulled her to her feet, and said the words that changed everything. I called the international press. They are waiting. The reversal was explosive. By dawn, the footage was everywhere. BBC, Al Jazeera, CNN, Channels TV. The governor's voice echoed across the world. The burnt ballot boxes flashed on every screen. The Election Commission announced an emergency investigation. Protesters flooded the streets. The governor denied everything. Then the original video files were released. Then the warehouse workers came forward. Then the governor's own aide confessed. The governor's empire collapsed in less than 48 hours. And Amara, she walked into the newsroom, reopened under emergency protection as journalists applauded her, some with tears in their eyes. Even Tomiwa approached her, shaking, ashamed. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't know they would shut everything down. I didn't know they would come for you. She looked at him for a long moment. I forgive you, she said softly. But we can never go back. He nodded, tears falling. He walked away low. Amara rebuilt her life. She moved her mother into a safer neighborhood. She received international awards. She became head of investigative reporting. She trained young journalists to be brave but careful. She honored her father's legacy without repeating his fate. And every night, she placed the flash drive in a small box beside his press card. A reminder that truth is fragile, dangerous, and necessary. She finally slept without fear. She finally breathed without guilt. She finally lived. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free immediately. Sometimes it haunts you, breaks you, isolates you. But truth has a way of surviving, even when the people who carry it are forced to run. And here's the lesson. Courage isn't loud. Courage is the quiet decision to
justice doesn't come from comfort, it comes from sacrifice. When the world tries to silence you, let your truth be the thing that makes them tremble. If this story gripped you, follow Motherland Tales, where African stories rise, raw, and refuse to be silenced.